Hello, everybody. So, I have been thinking about like the power of journaling and how it can improve your productivity and also like your creativity because most of what I talk about when I'm journaling is pretty much like in the realm of ideas, right? When you're talking about something in that form of like writing, you know that you're tossing ideas around and you're figuring out like what works with this sentence and like how I can say this in a more proper manner, and like how can I make it much more inspiring for myself, like how can I talk to myself in a way that is inspiring, right? That's what I do every single time I just journal. I have this idea in my head that the only way I can put myself into any challenge is by talking myself into it first, like always before I go into any kind of challenge, before I take on any endeavor that might be difficult for me to even think about. I know that if I write it down first, I will be able to handle it better because I know that there are so many aspects of it that is super unknown to me, and if I write it down, I probably will come across so many other aspects of it that was just unknown to me before. Just by thinking about it, I recall all the steps that I need to go through. I bring to mind whatever I need to have in the process. Like what sort of tools do I need? What is the requirement for this event to transpire? Like what is going to happen? And like what if something bad happens, right? You have to always have this mentality that it's not going to go as planned. It's not ever going to go well. That's what I have decided to do every single time I want to do something difficult, because if I do say to myself that it's going to go well and it's going to go exactly according to my plan, the things that I've talked about before is going to be happening in reality as well. When I do that, I will get disappointed, and when it comes down to those moments of difficulty and like when I'm facing so much hurdles in the way, so much obstacles that I've never even imagined myself to be facing, I will feel disappointed and I will feel discouraged to even take like one step towards solving the problem, because the problem is super unfamiliar to me. I've never imagined myself having this problem. And so what I've decided is to decide to always say to myself that it's not going to go according to my plan, but at the same time, I will plan the steps. I will imagine myself going through that. I will visualize it. I will talk about every idea that I have that can apply to that situation. But at the same time, I am keeping in mind that this is just a very primary preparation. It's very a primitive sort of like structure of what reality will look like in the future, and it's never gonna be the way I'm imagining it right now. It's just not gonna happen the way I'm imagining it. And I will talk to myself about that specific sort of like mindset. I will try to install that mindset by saying this out loud, like saying that, like really making myself understand that it's going to be difficult, that it's not gonna go according to the plan, that it's gonna suck, that it's gonna be very difficult for me to plow through the darkness that I will be facing in the future, and I know that I will be facing because every situation is different from all the imagination that you can probably do to prepare yourself. No amount of imagination, no amount of preparation, no amount of like research or like talking to other people is going to be the same as what will really happen in the future. So you have to always prepare yourself for some flaws in the system, something going wrong, something going awry. So it will go awry. It will go into the worst direction ever, and you have to have that mentality to be prepared when it happens, to be really encouraged rather than discouraged, because now you know that you've guessed it, you've guessed that it's not going to go right, and like that's the fun of it. And when you look at this from a fun game perspective, you're not only going to be you're not only not going to be discouraged, but you're also going to have this like extra surge of motivation because it's fun and it's exciting, that it's not the same boring thing that you've been thinking about for months on end before you went into this challenge and before you jumped into the battle, right? It's just much more novel and new for you, and that will only encourage you, that will only give you extra boost of energy rather than deplete you from all the energy that you've been giving yourself, saying that this is gonna be the same thing that I'm imagining it to be. So the first thing that I need to do is to just like really give myself the time to think about this in the worst way that could possibly happen. Like, how is this gonna go if it was the worst scenario? In a worst case scenario, what will absolutely be wrong with me, or like what sort of feeling would I be grappling with if I had to deal with so much like just unanticipated difficulty, unthought of difficulties that I will be facing at some point. What will I be thinking at that point? What will I be like emotionally experiencing, right? Like, what's the emotional hurdle that I would feel? Because most of our obstacles are not really real obstacles, they're just emotional obstacles because we are facing something quite unknown to us. And once you figure out that that is going to happen, once you understand that that's going to be the case, you're going to be prepared for your, like, you've guessed it. Like, it's as if like you're like somebody talks about your like a certain boss that you're gonna have in your future job, and like they're talking bad about the boss that is going to be at the future work and is going to like lead you or like command you to do whatever. When you know that beforehand, you're not gonna be disappointed. You're just gonna be, oh, yeah, it was right. You know, that's like this sort of person is very weak, and that's how they're managing the management job that they have. And it has nothing to do with me, right? It has nothing to do with this situation. And if I were to like apply this or extrapolate this whole scenario into that scenario that we just described, it's like you already know that you're going to turn into this giant mess of emotional catastrophe, and it's not something personal, and it's not something new, right? It's not new to you because you've been talking to yourself and you've been telling yourself that this is actually going to happen. So at that point, it's going to be, oh, yeah, as I expected, I'm turning into this giant mess of emotional disaster, and one thing I can do is to just acknowledge it and to be okay with it and to eat it up. Like, sometimes I sense myself, I kind of like see myself eating up emotions, and like I know that they're building up. I'm doing something that I don't like, and so much disruptive emotions are building up inside of my chest, and I know that it's making me super heavy, and I feel like discomfort, and such a big huge discomfort, and at unease, like being uneasy, having like an uneasy sort of moment, and really sweating through that and just eating it up, you know. Like I feel like it's not even eating, it's like just hang in there, you know, just bear the emotions, just like observe it so that it goes away, you know. Just like see it and acknowledge it, and mention it to yourself, and like internally be aware of it, and that awareness will make the emotions go away. Because like, what the frick is that emotion? Like, how is that even related to this whole obstacle that I am facing? Like, what's that gonna do? That's not gonna help me in any kind of way. So it has to go away, and you will become aware of the fact that it's useless, and that's when it completely goes away, and it's it just flees your head, and you will feel super lighter once you acknowledge it, right? Once you know that, oh yeah, as expected, this was gonna happen, and there was like no way to avoid it. So That's when you know that you are in a good spot. You've been preparing yourself for your state of mind. You know that the changes, the fluctuations are going to happen and they are inevitable. They will just come on in every single time you're facing something horrible and you've never done it before, right? Like those unknown situations are just gonna be pretty hard for you to handle just because it provokes some sort of emotional trauma or like emotional I don't know, tumult or like emotional whatever. So you know what I'm drinking? I'm drinking this beautiful drink that I made myself, which is just watermelon water. I don't know. I just mixed up the watermelon with some ice, and it's good. It's good. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to talk about, which is like actually writing down all the traumas that you're gonna face in the future, all the things that is gonna go wrong, and saying to yourself, it's gonna go very wrong. I'm gonna feel so freaking like I'm gonna feel this hard feelings that is just gonna be unbearable, and I know that it's gonna be unbearable, and even then, I am pretty much volunteering to feel it all over myself. Like I just don't care. I just don't care if I feel the pain because it's irrelevant. Like what's that pain gonna do? I'm just gonna acknowledge it and it's gonna go away because it's not going to solve my problems. Why would it be there if it's not serving any purpose? And that's exactly what's going to happen if you just let go of it and not attach yourself to the outcome so much. Like so much of our suffering is going to come if we're super attached to the outcome and we're super result oriented rather than focusing on the kind of person you become when you go through all the challenges that you are setting out to go through. So it's about the internal growth, the internal gains that you're going to gain, and you're going to like attain and obtain that sense of like leadership inside of your mind, like being the leader of yourself, being like self-sufficient and knowing that you can do all the hard thing that is available to you. Like you can go through it. It doesn't matter if you win or if you like lose everything. It's what matters to you is the skills that you acquire along the way, is the knowledge that you acquire. It's always about your understanding, being I'm sorry, I had to, I don't know, something is happening in my freaking throat. So it's not about winning. What it's about like knowing that you can grow out of it, knowing that you can become so freaking unrecognizable, even you yourself, and having that understanding lead you into the battle and just encourage you to take every step that might be at first uncomfortable to take and difficult to take, but you're gonna take it because you know that the return on your investment is gonna be so much higher than the amount of pain that you're gonna tolerate in this whole process. So this is going to give you so much more than it's appearing at first sight, at first glance. It's going to make you an iron built person, you know, like very strong person, very strong mentality, characteristic. Every part of you is gonna grow. Like even physically you're gonna grow. Sometimes I do something and I feel like my physical pain threshold is getting higher and higher. Like I know that like there's gonna be some level of physical discomfort that you're gonna feel even if you're doing something completely mental and completely like intellectual. You're gonna have some sort of discomfort in your body because your body is gonna let you know that like you're doing so much work or like you're a bit exhausted, you're a bit tired, but like you're gonna be able to like bear all of that and to just digest all of the tiredness that is coming rising up in your head, rising up in your chest, and like your body is just permeated with all these chemicals that is getting your brain to a quitting state, like taking it to a quitting state that you feel like you just want to throw in the towel and you just want to go and get some nap time, which is quite awesome, like, which is like not awesome, but like quite helpful if you could just take a break sometimes. But what I'm saying is that if you do that difficult task, not only are you going to gain an extra level or like a higher level of mental toughness, it's also going to give you a higher level of physical toughness, like physically being able to like sit at your desk and not move around so much, not fidget so much, like, right? And so it's always about like challenging your brain and body and focusing it on what matters to you. And so that's only going to happen if you are always talking yourself into it, which is going to be available to you. You're going to access this mentality by writing it down, by really immerse yourself in the writing process, just exploring the realm of ideas, exploring the realm of creative endeavors, like creative thoughts and concepts that is going to help you gain a higher insight than you're already like gaining. Because life, if you're not going through life intellectually like assessing it, you're not going to gain so much. Like even if you are going through so much difficulty, like if you're not assessing it, if you're not reviewing it, you're not going to be able to gain as much as you do when you're completely thoughtful of the experience and you're mindful and you're present with it. You know what's happening to you, you know what's like making you do this stuff, or like what makes you decide to take this route instead of that route, like what's actually making you tick, right? Like that's the process in which you figure yourself out. You get to know yourself deeper. You get to know what makes you tick, what makes you give up, what makes you feel this emotional burden in your head, what makes you feel like you just don't have it in you. Like what are those like limiting beliefs that you're facing in this life? So all of that is going to be much more clear to you, much more transparent. It's going to be like as clear as daylight when you're writing them down, when you're diving into it head first and knowing that there are so many flaws in your system, and you have to like get to know it at least, so that you're not gonna be caught off guard when you are going into the battle, and when you know that there's no time for you to like assess yourself, right? Like you have to have this assessment beforehand, before you go to the battle, before you go to that hard situation that you're gonna deal with in the future. And that's exactly how you're gonna deal with this. That's exactly how this, like how this is gonna go well. And by knowing that you're gonna have so much to work through, even in the battle, like you are ready, you know yourself, you know the situation, you know everything. So that's how you prepare yourself, by talking yourself into it, right? Talking yourself into it and knowing that you don't know so much about yourself, and you don't know so much about this world and reality, and you know that you're gonna come across so many new, novel, unexplored realms and arenas that will probably surprise you and will catch you off guard, and that's going to be a big problem. It's going to create so much more trouble in the way, but you know it beforehand, so that you're at least just gonna get rid of the emotion that is gonna rise up. Because most of our failure is going to kind of be precipitated by the emotional tumult that comes up inside of us when we are facing something quite difficult to handle and to manage, and like even to digest. Like you can't even digest the amount of difficulty you're facing, and you don't even know what to do. So that's probably the biggest thing that we always face, not knowing what to do. And that will create so much emotional barrier that is not going to allow you to take another step. It's just going to paralyze you. And that's when you know that this is actually what it's supposed to look like. And it's not something unfamiliar to me because I've seen it before. I've seen it in writing. I've been writing about it for such a long time. I don't know myself. I know that this is going to happen. So thank you so much for listening to me. I hope that I can talk to you next time.